Oh, you win. You win.
Yeah.
I was going to say, anyone see my stapler?
Have you seen my neighbor?
You see my stapler? As a matter of fact, I think I stole someone's stapler. So if anyone in the office is watching this, yeah, I have your stapler. Oh, man, if I would have known, I would have brought my new edition.
Oh, you got one
We
too?
just got a dog too.
What'd you get?
Yeah, we got a puppy.
Oh,
He's like a mix between a Chihuahua and a Jack Russell Terrier.
so he's gonna stay small.
Yeah, we got a nice little. I'm trying to look for a photo of him, but yeah, basically, I've had this situation where nobody in the household listens to me. The dog don't listen to me. The kid don't listen to me. They have now
Wife
teamed up
definitely
and
don't listen.
exactly. So yeah, I'm on a lonely island. Is all I could say. Welcome everybody to Zia Comic Weekly, where we get ready to nerd out for the next half hour. Of course, we are the bringers of the nerdness. What's going on, Troy?
Not much, man. It's another week, new year.
Another week, another year,
Getting
another.
used to writing 4 instead of 3.
Yeah, well, earlier before we jumped on, I told you I've been telling people, "Hey, happy Wednesday." No, it's not Wednesday. It's Thursday.
What?
Yeah,
And they never say that. They just look at you funny, like, huh?
yeah. By the way, I got to give a shout out to, and I told him too. His name's Steven. He called up on the show earlier this morning and said, "Hey, you've been saying Wednesday all show. It's Thursday, right?" I'm like, "It is." I'm like, "Okay." So I
Not in this
I missed.
studio.
I was like, I missed a whole day at work. Then apparently.
In here, it's still Wednesday.
Yeah, you know what? In my spirit, it will always be Wednesday. Wednesday just has a meaning. I don't. Yeah, but
How dare
man,
you
shout out.
call in to correct me?
I know. I'm glad he did before I started saying, "Hey, it's Wednesday, January 11th, 2023." I'll just get everything wrong. Oh man, what's going on? What's the happenings at Zia Comics?
Uh, I'm getting ready. I'm making the graphics for it. We're gonna have another in-store signing um,
Nice.
in Las Cruces. Mr. Joey Lee Cabral, local, well, semi-local. He's out of El Paso. Artist has got a variant cover for Keen Spot's Crying Boy #1. It's like a horror type comic. So we're gonna have him in store. It comes out like in middle of February. We're gonna have him in store February 24th to
Nice.
do some, sign some of them. Plus, he'll have some other stuff. He's worked on a lot of other comics, so he'll have that stuff there to sign also, as well as prints and everything. And we're going to have CGC there,
Nice.
so they'll be able to. You can get it signed by him, take it right over to CGC, and get your little slab with that coveted yellow title, and nobody can dispute that autograph. Then,
It's crazy. I never realized how important that is until now that, that it's like it's very like especially when you want to try like for the authenticity of something, how important
hmm
it is to have that type of and it just I guess it just makes things easier if you were ever trying to prove how authentic it is of any type of thing, whether it's something you get signed, and in this case you're having an in-store signing, it works out.
yeah, and CGC is a really good one to have because they won't certify it unless they actually lay eyes on
I
it getting signed.
I
I
seen
see
it.
that. Although some of the other ones will, go through and look. Oh yeah, that's probably it. CGC, if they don't personally witness it, they ain't gonna give you that gold label. You ain't getting
Please
it.
tell me that this is what they do when they see it. Like every time that they want to, they go,
Actually, it's weird because they have a facilitator and they have a witness. The witness watches it get signed, then they pick it up and it stays, within their eyesight, and they take it over to the facilitator, and the facilitator does the paperwork. So whenever you
man,
have CGC like witnessing, it's usually a two-person. Well, not usually. It is a two-person operation.
what a job, man. Like, how cool would that be? You just sit there, it's like, I get to watch to see these celebrities authenticate something.
Yeah, especially if you get to go to like big cons like New York or San Diego. They get to like we went and we got something signed by I think it was David Nakayama, and I
Mhm.
was I was looking. I was like, hey man, I want to get this signed, but I want to get it CGC'd. Let me go grab the witness, and he happened to be sitting there looking through comics. And he's looked over. He's like, I'm right here. There we go.
Hey, it was meant to be at that point.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that you can't make that stuff up. He's just like, "Oh, I'm right here. I'm ready to go."
yeah, he's all right. I mean, at the big cons, they got it down pat though. After they do that, if you don't want, if you're gonna get a bunch of stuff signed and you don't want to, pay each time, they give it to you in a sealed bag, so you can go around and get all the rest of the stuff you want done and bring it all up to them in one big stack.
Okay.
Because otherwise, you're gonna pay shipping fees each time that gets done.
See, and that's what I was wondering because if you were doing it each time, I was like, on top, that's gonna be a lot of work that you're doing.
Yep.
So, I mean, and I would understand. I mean, especially you think nowadays with the rise in just popularity of the nerdum, the nerdverse, and just especially because we love from comic books to just old vintage movies and whatever the case may be. Finding that authenticity is always an important thing, especially if you want to have it and not necessarily to sell. You're talking someone that wants to keep it to say, "Hey, I have this and it's the real thing. It's the real deal."
Yeah. Like I said, and they have to witness it, and they do more than just comics now. CGC has branched out. You can get your collectible cards graded. You can get Blu-ray DVDs, VHS. They grade those. Magazines, video games, like the old video games.
Old
They'll grade
cartridges.
those. Yeah. And if
Man,
you get one of those and get the guy who designed the game to sign it and then get that slab, that's a video game guy's dream.
man, that's a I was gonna say I could just that's one to the collection that you don't get rid of.
Get Scott Warsaw to sign ET for you
Oh
and get
my
it framed.
right?
I would actually love to have something like that.
Man, that's and it's I've learned over the years, just especially when it comes to getting these certain limited editions, getting something authenticated. And I think the biggest takeaway was when you told me, it's like if it says special edition or limited edition, it ain't so limited.
If it was made to be collected, then it's probably not collectible.
Yeah, they're not going to just tell you, "Hey, collect it." What you're basically doing is just taking up space in your garage because the next thing you know, you have a bunch of old Happy Meal toys that you
Yeah.
thought were going to be worth millions of dollars, and they weren't worth anything.
The California raisins. I had a bunch of those up till a few years ago and I got rid of them in a garage sale.
Were they worth it? I mean, I don't know. Could they have been worth something? I don't. $5 maybe at this point?
Maybe, I don't know. I sold them for like, a couple bucks just to take the whole stack away.
I know. The biggest thing that always gets me when you look back at some of the stuff that you did get rid of and you're just like, "Man,"
Huh.
because I mean, there's a ton of action figures from, my childhood that I'm like, for one, why did I open it? And two, where did it go? So, I mean, you don't know, man. You're a kid at the time, and then now when you're older, you're like, "I could have wait, what?" Like, man,
They were made to be played with, man. Just like the old comics. We get a lot of those, the older ones in, they'll have somebody's name written on it,
yeah.
or some other stuff written on it. They would roll them up, stick them in their back pocket. I mean, they weren't made to be collectible back then. That's why to find one in great condition,
Yeah.
you pay quite a bit.
You're right, man. I mean, that was before we put everything on a cell phone and put it in our pocket. You knew by them rolling it up, put it in your back pocket. You're like, "I wonder what he's got."
That, or they would cut the coupons out, to get those sea monkeys or the X-ray specs.
By the way, if you were born after 2000, you probably have no idea what me and Troy are talking about.
We're
Like, is that
dating
on an app?
ourselves.
I know. Is that a coupon on the app? No, there was no app back then.
Sea
Trust me.
monkeys, is that a movie? I what?
Like, what the heck is going on here? So, welcome to this edition of Zia Comic Weekly, brought to you by AARP.
Yeah,
Uh, oh
we are
man, but
old.
no, I mean, but that's cool, man. So, of course, you got the signing that's going to be coming up. What else we got going on in Alamogordo?
Alamogordo is pretty much business as usual. It's hard to get a lot of artists or celebrities to go to Alamogordo. It's a
Mhm.
little off the beaten path, but we've had a few go over there, and I'm looking now. I'm trying to ramp up for Free Comic Book Day. I would like to. Used to we had a ton of we bring in a ton of artists and cosplayers and everything for Free Comic Book Day. But when we moved over to Main Street, we really couldn't do that because Farmers Market is on Saturday up until like
Yeah,
1 p.m. and the streets closed till 2. So we even started our Free Comic Book Day later in the day. But it's just such a crowd there. We can't really bring in a lot of that stuff. But I'm going to try
yeah.
to slowly start bringing in like I think we're going to try to bring in a guest artist at each location during Free Comic Book Day, and because that's a big draw. People love to see the creators, so
Yeah. No, you
we're going
you
to try.
definitely you get an appreciation for them, man. I tell you, in the last year, I've grown to appreciate a lot of our, our voice actors and a lot of the, anime, and it's just,
Mhm.
especially the work, because I think oftentimes I know we talk about, yeah, they get to sit in their pajamas and do their work, but man, can you imagine how many takes and how many different ways to get it, and just the work and just the precise that they have to get things done, all that
Mhm.
for a 30-second clip that we may get to experience and enjoy. I mean, it's hats off to all of them, the artists, the voice work,
Yep.
the talent. There's a lot that goes behind it than just the stars that I think we constantly talk about from the MCU, the Chris Pratts, which they're gonna be fine, man, but there's a lot of hardworking artists out there.
Yeah, I mean, the voice actors, they say the same lines over and over all day long, trying to get this up. And the ones who have a lot of scream, because a lot of the anime, there's a lot of screaming, yelling and stuff, fight scenes.
Yeah.
They have to be careful not to lose their voice. That's their moneymaker. If you're constantly screaming, you got to take care of that larynx right there. You got to make sure you don't lose that voice.
Especially if you ever run into a situation, and this think the same thing goes even for musicians, where I think oftentimes people are like, "Oh, they wouldn't wanna talk to me." They gotta protect their voice, so I know it may sound cheesy to people that think that, "Oh, they didn't wanna say the line from the TV show, and he didn't want." I was like, "Well, I'm sorry, but he's got money riding on that. He can't sit there and
Yeah,
just perform for you for 30 seconds and think that something happened to his voice, and there goes his money."
yeah. And then you got other ones that just don't care. Like when we had Bryce Papenbrook, he had a killer line all weekend long.
Yeah.
And I think he said a line for everybody who came through there. He you could hear him across. He wasn't whispering. You could hear him across the convention center.
Oh man, it's great though. But I tell you, man, my appreciation for all those guys, it's bad. People need to realize especially when you guys go to the Comic Cons, when El Paso comes up, Cruces, and a lot of these guys, man, they put in the works, and it's not just they're only here today. They're today here, tomorrow there, then they're here. Then
Yep.
it's a nonstop, it's a traveling gig.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of times they're not given a lot of direction on these voices, so they have to create that character in their head. And a lot of them you can hear with your eyes closed. You can hear the voice. You know exactly what character they're doing. That's when you know that's a good voice actor because they
Yeah,
distinguish between their voices. Not like Chris Pratt.
which we know is it Mario or Garfield? We don't even know.
Yeah,
So
close your eyes. I don't know. Is
I
that
don't know.
Parks and Rec? No, it was
The
Garfield.
group.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait, right? You're like, I don't even know. I mean, but hey, it's funny. It's funny to look at, but I just don't know. But it's crazy, man. But shout outs to all them. Don't forget about of course, the in-store signing that you guys are gonna be having up. You guys have a lot going on, and I'm sure you guys are also got your plannings and everything going on for, everything that you guys have coming up this year. You guys stay busy.
Oh yeah, I've got a stack of contracts over here that I'm either signing or sending out to be signed, or I'm getting them back signed. And we have a couple of big announcements we got to make here soon. As soon as I get contracts back signed, not just for El Paso Comic Con, but for anime as well.
Yeah.
I got a couple of big names that I think people are going to be happy with.
It's gonna be a lot of fun, man. I'm looking forward to 2024. All right, let's go to nerd out because there's a lot to get to today. So I got to ask you, do we want to start with Star Trek or Star Wars?
I
I
like
know
them
it's
both.
and even bringing both of them up, like I'm probably gonna get a lot of grief from people like, why would you say? Because there's news for both of them, guys. That's why I'm saying that. I
Yeah,
tell you what,
this
let's go ahead
isn't
and start with
fanboys. I like them both.
yeah, let's go ahead and start with Star Trek because looks like Star Trek new movie is gonna be in the works. New Star Trek movie is they're saying that this is gonna take place before the events of the 2009 J.J. Abrams movies. So we're gonna be getting that was where the timeline will be for this next movie.
Okay, yeah, I heard they were making one. I didn't hear, that it was going to be in that timeline. So it's not going to be Kirk.
Yeah.
Are they going to focus on the other one, the other captain?
Yeah, I think that's kind of where they're leaning more towards. And who knows, maybe and from just some of the headlines that I read, this is hoping to ramp and maybe revive kind of where they left off with Kirk, and maybe it's like a whole nother reintroduction. So I guess the theory is that they would be kind of a prequel to what we saw, which would then lead to maybe future films to what happens after. I just that's a couple movie theories that have been popping up on Reddit as far as where
Well,
the next phase will take them.
Captain Pike's a good character, and
Mhm.
yet Spock who kind of crossed over between Pike and Kirk. So I don't know if we're going to see him or not, but I'm sure you're going to see the old Romulans with the old Romulan look, or not
Yes.
Romulan, the old Klingons where they had the old look.
So, I mean, it's an interesting take, man, because I'm excited to see where they go, but then leads the next question. Who do they bring on to do this film?
Well, didn't Hemsworth do Pike in the first Star Trek? It
Yes,
was one of the
and
Hemsworths. I don't remember which.
it wasn't Chris, it was
Liam.
Liam? Liam. I think it was Liam. So, I mean, I don't know, I think they got an opportunity to really I mean, and we haven't gotten anything since 2009. I mean,
Yeah.
so it's been a minute, and if they can come up with a great story, we'll see.
Yeah, yeah. That's gonna, like I said, that's gonna be back in the beginning though, when the Federation wasn't real established like it is now. Yeah, I'm all for it.
I
We've told
mean
all the stories we can with the existing characters. Let's go back.
I mean, and it works out to as far as like you said, like, well, let's see how much we can take this and where it could lead to afterwards. I mean, and then also, who was it? Which one of the Chris's was also in it? Chris Evans. So many Chris's, man. But I mean, you just got so many other characters that you could eventually. I mean, whether it's introducing new characters, bringing back, those cameo appearances of characters, and also, paying tribute to characters that, it just that aren't here anymore. I mean, I'm pretty sure they'll figure out a way to tie everything in.
I wouldn't mind seeing a movie from the viewpoint of the bad guys, or what we consider bad,
Yeah.
like maybe a series from the Klingons' point of view or the Romulans' point of view. Uh, because villains are only a villain in somebody else's story, and their story they're the hero. So I want to see something like that.
So, yeah, man, time will only tell. But yeah, it was announced, and who knows if J.J. Abrams will be behind the director of this. It's I'm sure we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, they just gave us like a little samples to say a new movie's coming. Okay, can you give me more than just the new movie's coming? Like I
That's
kind
all
of
we
would like
got.
little more details than just a hey, new movie. Great. I was like, win.
It's Star Trek: A New Hope.
Exactly. Newer hope. We'll add as many
Oh yeah, that's
news
already
to
been
it.
used. Oh wait a minute.
Yeah. The newest of hopes? I maybe
Hope
we got
anew.
a brand new hope? Hoping this hope works? I don't know. You work with that Hollywood. You guys can go from there. All right, let's go to Star Wars now because looks like John Favreau. I don't know if I ever say his name right.
I think that's right.
Favreau.
Favreau, like Brett
Favreau.
Favre, but
Yes.
Favreau.
Favreau. So Mandalorian creator John Favreau is going to be directing a new Star Wars movie, and it's going to be focused on the Mandalorian and Grogu. So yeah, it's not Star Wars, but more leaning more towards the Mandalorian. So the next time you see the Mandalorian and Grogu, it will be on the big screen. So
Yeah, I'd heard about that. I'm all for it.
yeah, it's unclear when the show's timeline, this new story will take place, but obviously these two are together. And I mean, with the success that they've had as far as the Mandalorian TV show, I'm sure they have something cooking for what's going to come up on the big screen because you don't put a Star Wars movie if you're not looking for a big budget.
Yeah, I want to see how they develop Grogu since he's walking, Jedi and Mandalorian paths. How he's gonna develop when he gets
Yeah,
older. Because they live what? Yoda was 900 and some years old when he died, I think.
yeah, he was hitting almost a thousand. So
He's
and
got a while to
Grogu's
live.
got Yeah, Grogu's got a long story ahead of him. So, no, I think it's intriguing, especially because it goes back to, what we said last week. I mean, more Pedro Pascal, man. So
But that's not him in the costume. He was
I
just doing the
know,
voice.
but we still get. Hey, man, we can still. It's as long as he's got the voice, and it goes back to the voice work stuff. But it's great to see that there's a new take on it, and I think even like earlier when we were talking about Star Trek, we know some of the main stories, now with this that we've gotten something different out of the Star Wars franchise, it's kind of cool to see where these eventually can lead up to the big screen. And I think this is a nice little test to see if these shows that they've been putting on Disney Plus can transition over into big screen movies.
Yeah, well, man, everybody's infatuated with Mandalorian ever since Boba Fett was introduced, and then they gave you a little more of a taste during Clone Wars and Rebels, and then with Mandalorian, they just like, okay, here you go, emptying out the whole bag of Mando lore. There you go.
I mean, and then you had Ahsoka, that also got a series. I mean, there's so many great characters that I think a lot of us are excited to see that it's gonna be great to now that they have they found the person to play these roles. And now we can say, okay, let's almost in a sense create this universe to go out of the TV series into the movies.
Yeah, I mean, because they've been doing the opposite lately. They take the characters from the movies and throw them into a series. So, is that going to work, like you said, the other way around?
Yeah, because I mean, and Disney right now is at a kind of a situation where they got to figure out how, because they're not going to use Disney Plus as much to put these series. All right, well, if we're going to put the money. How do we get the bang for our buck in the theaters?
Yeah, I'm waiting for them to do a what if movie. Uh,
I,
they got the stuff. They
it's
got the titles. They just need to get their stuff together.
Yeah, we got to say, what if? What if they got their stuff together? It would work out. And this also, and I'm just thinking about it right now. This is also a testing ground for, you got Captain America that's about to do the same thing. I mean, you had Falcon and the Winter Soldier that was a show that now is turning into a Captain America movie. So, I mean, Disney could be really trying to pivot back to more theatrical releases than just being on a TV series.
Yeah, I'm not sure because I hate going to the theaters, so I'm not. I'm not sure how
Yeah.
I feel about that.
I know, but I mean, if Disney, I mean, obviously, if it's the Disney product, then hopefully it's good to know that they'll go to the streaming, but it'll take some time. But I don't know. I was really kind of starting to dig the series that you kind of get more invested that way rather than just a 3-hour movie. I don't know. And maybe even like the latest Marvels movie that could have been maybe divided into a series, and that would have been great.
Yeah, and I think maybe the expectation is lower for a series than a movie. I don't know if people's expectations are just too high.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not sure because a lot of times these things get bad reviews, and I watch them. I'm like, I kind of like it. Like the
Yeah.
Eternals. Now the Eternals is starting to get its due finally.
Yeah, I mean, that's one that I think has always stood out as where it's like "Oh, it wasn't no Avengers." But then when you actually get time to go back and watch it on Disney Plus, and I think that's also too, we go in there with this high expectation. Who was I talking to about this? Oh, it was Gino this morning. Says we put so much expectation that we just don't enjoy the film for what it is. We go in there, I mean, last couple Marvel movies, who's gonna make the surprise cameo appearance? Who's gonna do this? Is this person? You and I talked about, are we gonna cry at the Guardians of the Galaxy? There's so much expectations that I think we just gotta go in there with an open mind and watch these movies, whether it be a Star Wars or a Marvel or DC movie.
Yeah, I just want to be entertained for however long the movie is. I don't look for plot holes and all this deep meaning and oh well, what was he thinking when he did this? He was thinking he needed that character to go over to here. That's there was no underlying stupid deep meaning. Stop it.
Right. Guys, you just gotta sit back and enjoy the ride and then complain about it online later after you watch it. How about we try that? Just
Well,
complain
they
later.
asked they asked one author about something, a book I can't remember, and they were saying, well, what were you thinking? What was the meaning of when this guy did that and that? And he's like, there was no meaning to that. You guys are assigning this meaning to it. That is not in my mind.
There's a lot going on through these directors and these writers' minds that they're not thinking about the small stuff that, like you said, like we're thinking about. They're just like, man, I was just trying to get to the next page. That's what I was trying to do.
I needed that paycheck.
I was like, man, hey, I don't care. I was like, whatever I got to write, I'll put it in there. But if you found a deeper meaning, cool, go for it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. Yeah.
Uh, because we love Pedro Pascal so much, I got an update on This Is Us. Oh, no, This Is Us. That was
Ooh,
another show. The Last of Us, season 2.
that was a surprise series. I didn't, based off a video game. I was kind of hesitant, but
And
they pulled it off.
the only reason I even got into that series was because you mentioned how good it was, and then I was like, "Okay, I'll check it out." And boy, that show that was a sleeper. That one I actually see, but that was a one that caught a lot of people off guard last year, and it was such a good show, man.
Yeah, and I liked how they used the clickers as something that could actually happen. It happens in ants.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen in us because of the warm blood. So it
Yeah.
wouldn't be much for it to jump.
Uh, So this is the latest update that we have. So The Last of Us season 2 production is expected to begin in spring of this year. So now with the writers and everybody's back, so spring of this year, and they're hoping for an early 2025 release date. So we're thinking beginning of January the next season, which we're hoping we'll then get teasers and trailers by the time we get to, Thanksgiving, Christmas time. So looks like they're going to be working pretty fast to get this together. And keep in mind, I mean, you got some stars, and I believe also some new cast additions that will be coming in. So they've got a lot to catch up on because this series, if I'm not mistaken, was supposed to have started filming last year around the time that the writer strike happened, and that put everything on pause.
As long as Pedro's in it, I'll watch it.
Yeah, Pedro, he's not going
Papa
anywhere.
Pedro.
Yeah, I mean, we might be getting a little bit of a break from Pedro in 2024, although he was at the Golden Globes and he made a face after someone told him, "Suck it, Pedro." And he made a face. And I'm like, this guy is gonna become a meme immediately. Like, even when he's just sitting there, he just does the and I'm like, oh my God. Because you don't take it serious.
Well, it was a Golden Globe. It's
Exactly right. I
not like
was
it's an
like,
Oscar.
I know. So the fact that he's sitting there and someone on stage feels comfortable enough, he just beat him and says, "Suck it, Pedro." It's funny. I mean, you can't beat that. I mean, but oh, Pedro, we're gonna see a lot of memes from this guy, and we're so thankful. But yeah, between Mandalorian and The Last of Us, get ready because 2025, I think, will be the return of the year of Pedro.
Do yourself a favor and look up that Vogue interview he did with the lie
I
detector
still,
test.
I still need to do that. So I
That's
still
that's comedy gold.
you mentioned last week, so I need to do that.
You won't
Let's
be
see. Five Nights at Freddy. Did you ever see that on Peacock?
no, not yet. I'm not a big horror fan, and I've never played that game. But everybody I've talked to who likes horror, they're like, "Yeah, it wasn't bad."
Yeah. It's weird because it's like this obviously with Mario and Sonic, these video game characters going into movies. So it was just announced that part 2 is in the works. I know there was a lot of people going back and forth about we don't know just yet, but yeah, part 2 will be in the works. Josh Hutcherson says that the sequel will be on the way, and I mean, good for them, man. I think it just once again goes to the testament to streaming because I think it really picked up juice when it went to Peacock. And if you have Peacock, you saw that it was all over the screen. Everywhere do you want to watch this? No, I really don't, but it's there.
Our pick for you.
It's like, where does this show that I want to watch this? I was like, no, I don't.
Animatronics are scary anyway. I don't know why anybody thought that. Oh, hey, let's put these in kids' restaurants.
So here you go. And then we're gonna make a movie about how they'll turn on you.
Nightmare fodder.
Have you been watching Jack Reacher
I watched the first season. What are they on season 2 or 3
season
now?
season 2?
Now I haven't seen much of season 2. I think I saw the first one. I'm glad they went with somebody who fits the description of the character
Yeah.
because in the books he's this big hulking, uh, just monster of a guy. And then oh hey, Tom Cruise is going to be Jack Reacher. What?
Yeah. No,
Where did you,
Alan Richins,
Rick
Rickton,
Richard? Yeah,
yeah, perfect role, fits for him. I mean, if you're talking, this is the perfect character for this guy, and it has been great. Season 2 has delivered, the whole plot line and everything. I won't do any spoilers because I've actually been keeping up with this season. They come out on Fridays, but it's been very entertaining, man, and Prime Video they've done a really good job of just kinda laying out all the stuff that they have coming this year, and I think Prime Video is about to have a Apple TV Plus type of year where they're gonna have a lot of great content on there, but, no, with the Reacher series and, it's been really good, but what happens when a character has to get into real life Jack Reacher mode? Because apparently that's what happened to him a couple of days ago. I just saw this story as we jumped on. It says that real life Reacher had to go into instant Reacher mode. He stopped a car robbery while he was on a date with his wife in Montreal.
What?
Yeah,
First of all, Canadians steal cars? I thought they were
I
all
know.
nice up there.
They were so polite. I'm gonna need to borrow your car, eh? No.
Hey. Can you imagine the carjacking up there? "Hey, can I have your car, eh?" "Alright, thanks, eh?"
Now, how scared would you be if you watch this show, do this, and Reacher comes and takes you out of the car? Instantly, I'd be like,
I
"Oh
would
my gosh."
soil myself.
I was trying to find a better way, a more PG way of saying it, but it would have been similar to what
I
you
woulda
said,
had
man.
to change my underwear. We'll put it
I need to take a shower afterwards because it's just
'cause he's a
yeah,
big dude, a lot of these guys, you'll see them on TV, and they look big, but you see them in real life, they're,
yeah.
5'8", 5'9". No, dude, he's really over 6 foot tall. Those are real muscles. I've seen him in real life. He's pretty intimidating. Nice guy,
Yeah.
but man, don't wanna fight him.
The nicest guy is some of his interviews are funny too, so he's got a timing for comedy, like, it's there, and then even in this show, I mean, like, there's, like, little moments where you're just like, it's so dry,
Yeah.
but it's so hilarious. But
Yeah,
yeah,
very unintentional humor.
Alan Rickton, he went into they're saying instant reacher mode and stopping a robbery while and then he's on date night of all things. He's like him and his wife, like, "How do you t Hey, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go stop this car
Hold on.
robbery."
Open the door for it. I'll be right back.
And he's like, "I'll just be right back. As a matter of fact, here's my card. Go ahead and pay the bill, and I'll meet you out front." I said, "But let me go stop this." But yeah,
So
man,
dumb.
so, all I know is if Amazon, if, I know you got a new episode coming out tomorrow, you probably might wanna use this headline to promote the next movie, to the next episode, because that's a crazy headline that Reacher stopped a car robbery
In real life.
in real life. Oh, man, so now if it was Tom Cruise, I'd be like, "Oh, he's so
No.
small."
You sure it wasn't Tom Cruise a stuntman? Come on.
No, like, "Oh, he's so small," but no, it was Alan. Yeah, Alan was the one that stopped this. So,
Yeah, if Tom
oh,
Cruise tried to stop it, I don't think it would have stopped.
I would've probably asked him for an autograph and kept moving, but here I am talking from the perspective of the car robber, which, yeah, no, you just
The
don't
rubber
do
would have
that.
beat him up and just took off.
Yeah, right. Oh, man, but,
Where's your
yeah, no,
Scientology now?
but that's been one of the shows, man, that I've enjoyed. I we started season 2 a little late. We started it during the Christmas holiday, even though there were already a couple episodes in, but, yeah, man, it's lived up to the hype, man, and, I'm excited. So, it's one of those series that I mean, because I wasn't exactly a big, Tom Clancy, I wasn't really into all that. So, knowing that they have a lot of those stories on Prime,
Mhm,
been
mhm.
pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, like I said, a lot of people don't realize, that was a book series first, guys.
Yeah.
You can go read about him.
So, yeah, and, it's been great, man. So, it's kinda cool to see a lot of these things that you would not expect that come from the pages of a book or a comic book, and now they're successful series. So, it's cool. So, all right, before we go, let's get everybody your socials, let them know how they can follow you guys so that way they can, stay up to date with what you guys got going on.
We're all over the interwebs, man. We got the Insta, the Meta, the YouTube, and the Tiki-Taki.
Excellent, excellent. And, by the way, earlier today in the studio, we had a discussion about okay, do we have to call it X or Twitter? And I said, "We don't have to call it anything because
I
I ain't
don't
on
even
it."
mention it. It's out of my vocabulary at this point.
I was I was like, "I ain't even on it, so I don't even acknowledge it." I was like, "I'm over 30, so I
I
still use
saw an
Facebook."
article that Twitter, since he took over, has lost 80% of its value.
Yep.
And it's
Is,
has it even been a year yet?
no. He's
How can
not
you
even he hasn't
destroy something that quickly?
I just man, it's like, okay, I don't know what the idea was behind of acquiring this, but when you bought this and there was just so many headlines that came out of he was firing people, they were
Mhm.
downsizing. Then all of a sudden they did the tribute by renaming it X to DMX. That's a lie. I don't know they didn't do that. But yeah, they literally just went straight up X and all of a sudden everybody's is it the same platform? I don't know. They just the headlines have not been that great. And honestly, it's a social media that I just really don't use that much anymore, so,
Yeah, I didn't use it a lot to start with, but
yeah.
he put his ego on it, and really,
Mhm.
I'm just going to fly in the face of what works and do what I want.
Yeah.
So you lose
Yeah,
80% of your value.
exactly, so, yeah, good luck figuring that out, so, I'm sure he'll have a meeting about it or something about like,
You
"Hey, how
need
do
to
we get
sell a
that
few
money
more
back?"
Teslas.
He's like, "Let me just sell 2 Teslas, I'll be fine." Of course, you can follow me on Facebook, Hot 103's Big Show FM on Instagram, and Joey on the FM on TikTok. So make sure you guys give us a follow. And that does it for us. We are done. We will see you guys next week.
Later, nerds.
I feel like I messed up that outro. Hold on. Oh, yeah, I did. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Okay.
rewind.
Yeah, this is live. Guys, this has been another edition of See a Comic Weekly. We'll see y'all next week.
Later, nerds.
And y'all thought this was pre-recorded. No, this is live, baby.
We'll catch it in edit.